It was the summer after my graduation when a group of friends and I decided to embark on a road trip through the vast, desolate landscapes of the American Southwest. Our journey led us to a small, forgotten town surrounded by endless stretches of desert. In the heart of this forgotten place, we stumbled upon an old roadside motel that seemed frozen in time. The motel's neon sign flickered erratically, casting an eerie glow on the cracked pavement. Intrigued and undeterred by its apparent abandonment, we decided to check in as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the desert sky in shades of crimson and indigo. The lobby was a time capsule, filled with faded wallpaper, ancient furniture, and a musty odor that permeated the air. The lone motel clerk, a frail figure with sunken eyes, greeted us with a half-hearted smile. As we signed the guest book, the clerk's gaze lingered on us, an unspoken warning buried in the depths of their expression. Our rooms were at the end of a dimly lit corridor. The air inside was stifling, and the flickering fluorescent lights cast eerie shadows on the peeling wallpaper. Despite the oppressive atmosphere, exhaustion got the better of us, and we settled in for the night. As I lay in bed, sleep proved elusive. Strange sounds echoed through the motel whispers that seemed to originate from the walls themselves. The air became charged with an unsettling energy, and the temperature fluctuated unpredictably. In the silence, I heard footsteps in the corridor outside, slow and deliberate. I cautiously opened the door, expecting to find one of my friends, but the corridor was empty. The motel, once silent, now seemed alive with unseen forces. As I walked down the corridor, the flickering lights cast distorted shadows that danced on the walls. In the lobby, I found the motel clerk, their eyes fixated on an ancient television that emitted only static. Without looking away, they whispered, "Leave now, before it's too late." The warning sent a shiver down my spine, and I rushed back to wake my friends. As we hurriedly packed our bags, the atmosphere in the motel intensified. Shadows seemed to converge, and the whispers grew into dissonant murmurs. The flickering neon sign outside cast distorted messages on the pavement, words that hinted at a forgotten tragedy. It was a chilly autumn evening when my friends and I decided to explore an abandoned factory on the outskirts of town. The sun had just dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows that seemed to stretch endlessly in the fading light. Armed with flashlights and fueled by teenage curiosity, we entered the eerie structure. The air inside was thick with the scent of rust and decay, and our footsteps echoed through the cavernous halls. Graffiti-covered walls told stories of past visitors, but there was an unsettling silence that hung in the air. As we delved deeper, the darkness seemed to intensify, and the beams of our flashlights struggled to pierce the black void that surrounded us. We stumbled upon a room filled with discarded machinery, their outlines barely visible in the dim light. The creaking of metal and the distant howling of the wind outside created an unsettling symphony. Our nerves were on edge, but the thrill of the adventure pushed us forward. Suddenly, we heard a sound, a soft whisper that seemed to come from the shadows. We froze, our flashlights scanning the darkness. The whisper turned into hushed laughter, and we exchanged uneasy glances. It was impossible to pinpoint the source, and the laughter seemed to be mocking our intrusion into this forgotten place. As we continued our exploration, the echoes of our own footsteps seemed to be accompanied by faint, distant footsteps that mirrored our every move. Panic set in, and we quickened our pace. The factory, once a labyrinth of curiosity, now felt like a maze with an unseen presence closing in. In a narrow hallway, the air grew colder, and our breaths became visible in the beams of our flashlight. A door at the end of the corridor, slowly creaked open, revealing a room draped in darkness. Reluctantly, we entered, and the door slammed shut behind us. Our flashlights flickered, casting erratic shadows that danced on the walls. The temperature plummeted, and an overwhelming feeling of dread consumed us. The laughter returned, louder and more menacing. We fumbled with our flashlights, desperately trying to regain control. Just as suddenly as it had started, the laughter ceased. The door swung open, and we stumbled out into the night, gasping for breath. To this day, we can't explain what happened in that abandoned factory. Was it the wind playing tricks on our senses, or did we stumble upon something darker? The memory of that night lingers, a chilling reminder that sometimes the scariest experiences are the ones that defy rational explanation. Late one evening, my friends and I found ourselves trapped in an empty shopping mall. It wasn't intentional. We had lost track of time while exploring the labyrinthine corridors of the sprawling complex. Storefronts with closed shutters and darkened windows surrounded us, creating an unsettling atmosphere. The once bustling mall now felt like a ghost town, with the only sound being the distant hum of fluorescent lights overhead. As we made our way through the deserted halls, an eerie quiet settled over us. The emptiness of the place seemed to amplify every creak and echo. Our footsteps echoed through the vacant space, and the stark contrast between the vibrant mall during the day and its desolate state now heightened our unease. The soft padding of our shoes on the cold tiles reverberated, creating an almost haunting cadence. Turning a corner, we encountered a flickering light that drew us to a forgotten food court. The air was stale, carrying a faint scent of old fast food. Tables and chairs were scattered haphazardly, and a lone janitorial cot stood abandoned in the center. A flickering neon sign above a closed fast food joint added a surreal glow to the scene. As we explored the quiet food court, a distant shuffle reached our ears. We strained to listen, and the shuffling sound became more pronounced. Anxiety gripped us as we realized we were not alone. Someone or something was moving in the shadows. Whispers echoed through the empty hallways, and the feeling of being watched became palpable. We quickened our pace, attempting to find an exit, but the mall seemed to twist and turn in unexpected ways, disorienting us. The flickering lights above seemed to play tricks with our senses, casting unsettling shadows that danced on the walls. At one point, we stumbled upon an open store, its entrance invitingly illuminated. Relieved, we entered, hoping to find an exit on the other side. However, as we traversed the aisles, the shelves began to distort, and the merchandise seemed to morph into eerie shapes. The store, once a sanctuary, became a disorienting maze. Panic set in, and we retraced our steps, desperate to escape the disconcerting mall. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, we found the exit. The automatic doors opened, and we spilled out into the cool night air, leaving the haunted shopping mall behind. To this day, the memory of that empty, echoing complex haunts us, a surreal and unsettling adventure in a place meant for commerce and community, now shrouded in an inexplicable sense of otherworldly quiet and lingering whispers.